I made 100 celebrities in LEGO, then I made 200 celebrities in LEGO, now I'm going to make 300 celebrities in LEGO. Let's get into it. So starting off our list, we have Sir Isaac Newton, who discovered gravity, Thomas Edison, who made the light bulb, and Alexander Graham Bell, who made the first real telephone. We then have James Gunn, who will be directing the new Superman Legacy movie. From Mr. Beast, we have Carl Jacobs, Chandler Hallow, and Nolan Hansen. Then we have Joaquin Phoenix from the Joker movie, Alfred Hitchcock, who directed over 50 feature films, Stephen King, the author of many terrifying books, including It and The Shining, John Grisham, known for his legal and courtroom drama books, Laura Ingalls, who's the girl in the Little House on the Prairie books, Roald Dahl, who made BFG, Willy Wonka, and James and the Giant Peach, Mother Teresa, who founded the Missionaries in 1950. Then for some actors, we have Henry Cavill from Batman v Superman, Jason Momoa from Aquaman, Zachary Levi from the Shazam movie, Shazam! Gal Gadot from Wonder Woman, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Michael Richards, and Jason Alexander from Seinfeld, along with Wayne Knight, who was Newman on Seinfeld, Troy Baker, who was Batman in the LEGO games, Ray Fisher, who was Cyborg from Justice League, Burgess Meredith, who was Penguin in the 60s, Sylvester Stallone from Rocky, Heath Ledger as the Joker from Dark Knight, Jared Leto, who was Joker on Suicide Squad, Cesar Romero, who was Joker in the 60s, finally Jack Nicholson, who was Joker in '89 Batman, Anne Hathaway, who was Catwoman in Dark Knight Rises, Tommy Lee Jones, who was Two-Face in Batman Forever, Frank Gorshin, who was Riddler in 60s Batman, Burt Ward, who was Robin in the 60s, Julie Newmar as Catwoman. Sorry about the hair, but I lost the original piece. Eartha Kitt, who was also Catwoman in the 60s once, J.K. Rowling, who's the author for Harry Potter, J.R.R. Tolkien, who wrote the Lord of the Rings books, C.S. Lewis, who wrote The Chronicles of Narnia, and at number 40 we have Charles Dickens, who wrote Christmas Carol, Alistair Sim, who was Scrooge in one Christmas Carol movie, George C. Scott, who was also Scrooge in another Christmas Carol movie, Michael Goff, who was Alfred in 4 Batman movies, Michael Caine, who was Alfred in the Dark Knight trilogy, and Alan Napier, who was Alfred in the 60s, Jerry Stiller, who was Frank Costanza in Seinfeld, Serenity now! Serenity now! George Sanders, who was the first Mr. Freeze in 60s Batman, Eli Wallach, who was also Mr. Freeze in 60s, Roddy McDowall, who was Bookworm in 60s Batman. At number 50 we have David Wayne, who was the Mad Hatter in 60s, Christopher Lee from Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, Bruce Lee, who's very good in martial arts, Corey Feldman from The Burbs, Dave Bautista, who was Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy, Ian McKellen as Gandalf from Lord of the Rings, Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin from the Spider-Man trilogy, Vincent Price, who was Egghead in the 60s, Jamie Foxx, who was Electro in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Henry Ford, who made the car Ford, Michael Shannon, who was General Zod in Man of Steel, Terry Fox, who ran across Canada but sadly died of cancer before he could finish, Jeremy Renner, who is Hawkeye in Marvel, Marilyn Monroe, who was like a dancing icon in the 50s, Tony Curtis, who's been in more than 100 films, Janet Leigh, mostly known for her roles in Psycho and Little Women, Eddie Fisher, who was a very famous singer, Debbie Reynolds from Singing in the Rain, Michael Keaton from '89 Batman, Kirstie Alley, who's been in a lot of good movies, and at number 70 is Gina Davis from Beetlejuice, Rick Moranis from Ghostbusters and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Annie Potts from Ghostbusters and Toy Story, Alex Trebek, who was the host of Jeopardy, Pat Sajak, the host of The Wheel of Fortune, Bob Barker, who was the host of The Price is Right, Vanna White, who's the co-host of The Wheel of Fortune, Drew Carey, who's a comedian, Zach Galifianakis, who was Joker in the Lego Batman movie, Nicole Kidman from Aquaman. At number 80, we have Chris O'Donnell, who was Robin in Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. Speaking of Batman, we have Will Arnett from the Lego Batman movie, John Travolta, who I guess is an actor and singer, Charlton Heston, who was Moses in the Ten Commandments film, Yul Brynner, who was Pharaoh in the Ten Commandments film, Zachary Gordon, who is in the live-action Diary of a Wimpy Kid trilogy as Greg Heffley. Then we have Jacqueline Kennedy, who was John F. Kennedy's wife, Bobby Kennedy, who was John F. Kennedy's brother. Then we have John F. Kennedy Jr., John F. Kennedy's son. Then we have Winston Churchill, a former president of the UK. And at number 90, we have Pedro Pascal from The Mandalorian, Zoe Saldana as Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy, Bradley Cooper as Rocket from Guardians of the Galaxy. Then we have Michael Gross as Stephen Keaton from Family Ties, Tamara Morrison as Boba Fett from Book of Boba Fett, Ed Asner, who, like Samuel L. Jackson, is literally in everything, Alfred Molina as Dr. Octopus from Spider-Man 2. We also have Jake Gyllenhaal, who was Mysterio in Spider-Man Far From Home. We also have Oscar winner Marissa Tomei, who was Aunt May in the MCU. At number 99, we have Jimmy Dean, an American country singer. And at number 100, we have Roger Bumpass as Squidward. So this will probably be the last video where I make celebrities and minifigures, because like I'm running out of them. I've already made 300 of them. If you want to see 100 and 200, you can go to my channel and see them there. But I think I'm going to start doing other stuff actually, like other stuff with minifigures and maybe Lego sets too. Good night, Jerry. Good night, Newman.